Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very warm welcome to this Monday, 17th July 2023 morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 9, Text 16. Before we discuss on this verse, let's sing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe, Jai Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य शूद्र श्रद्धा श्री श्रीमती divine grace शिलाय से भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. कृष्णे मतिरस्तु हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 16. bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānam kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ pītāṁśukaṁ vakṣasi lakṣitaṁ śriyā. bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānam kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ pītāṁśukaṁ vakṣasi lakṣitaṁ śriyā. bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānam kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ pītāṁśukaṁ vakṣasi lakṣitaṁ śriyā. Word by word. Bhṛtya, the servitor. Prasada, affection. Abhimukham, favorably facing. Dṛg, the very sight. Asavam, an intoxication. Prasanna, very much pleased. Hasa, smile. Aruna, reddish. Lochana, eyes. Ananam, face. Kirīṭinaṁ, with helmet. Kuṇḍalinaṁ, with earrings. Catur-bhujaṁ, with 4 hands. Pīta, yellow. Amśukaṁ, dress. Vakṣasi, on the chest. Lakṣitaṁ, marked. śriyā, with the goddess of fortune. Translation: the personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors. His very sight, intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune. Purport by His Divine Grace Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. In the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, there is a full description of Yoga Pitha, or the particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. In that Yoga Pitha, the personifications of religion, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. The 4 Vedas, namely Rik, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16 energies headed by Chanda are all present there. Chanda and Kumada are the first 2 doorkeepers. At the middle door are the doorkeepers named Bhadra and Subhadra. And at the last door are Jaya and Vijaya. There are other doorkeepers also named Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Shankukarna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, etc. The Lord's palace is well decorated and protected by the above-mentioned doorkeepers. Before we discuss on this verse, let us offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namashreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Mathurim Goshthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastrinam dante damyacha punaha punaha Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 16. bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānam kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ pītāṁśukaṁ vakṣasi lakṣitaṁ śriyā. The personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his very sight, intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune. So this particular verse is describing the appearance of Krishna in the form of Mahavishnu. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogibhir Dhyanagamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanātham. This is one of the beautiful prayers in glorification of Lord Sri Vishnu. And the first lines shows Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam. So his akara means his body is very peaceful. The shape how the body is very peaceful. It is called Shantakaram Bhujaka Shayanam. He is lying on the Ananta Shesha. He is the serpent. So that is his bed. While lying on Ananta Shesha, he is fully peaceful. Shantakaram Bhujaka Shayanam Padmanabham. From his navel, the lotus flower is emanating, and on that lotus flower, Lord Brahma is sitting. We have seen that in the previous verses, how Brahma has originated from the lotus that originates from the navel of Lord Sri Mahavishnu. Bhujakashayanam Padmanabham Suresham. So he is the Lord of all the demigods, Sura Isha. Sura are all the demigods, and he is the Isha, the Lord of all the demigods. Vishwadharam. He is the foundation of the whole Vishwa, the whole universes. There are innumerable universes. Yasyaika nishwasita kalam athavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanatha Vishnur mahansa ihayasya kala vishesho Govinda Madipurusham tamaham bhajami. As it is mentioned in Brahma Samhita, when Lord Mahavishnu is exhaling, all the universes are coming out of him. And when he is inhaling, all the universes go back into him. So this is the wonderful nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this Mahavishnu is a plenary portion of this person who is Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govinda. So one who is giving the greatest bliss and pleasure to the senses and the cows. That is Govinda. And he is Adi Purusham, the first person. And to this first person, I am offering my loving devotional service. Tama aham bhajami. To him, I am rendering loving devotional service. So this is that was Shantakaram. He's fully peaceful. He's lying on the Ananta Shesha, the serpent, Bhujaka Shayanam, Padmanabham. From his navel, the lotus flower is emanating, and Lord Brahma is sitting on that lotus flower. Suresham, he is the Lord of all the demigods. Vishwadharam, he is the foundation of the whole unlimited universes. All the universes are emanating from him, and he is the Adhara, the foundation of Vishwa, the whole universes. Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam. His complexion is like that of the newly formed cloud. Meghavarna. Shubhangam. It's got his, each and every limbs are fully auspicious. Vishwadharam Gaganasadarsam Meghavarnam Shubhangam. Lakshmi Kantam. His dearest is Lakshmi Devi. And Lakshmi Devi's dearest is Lord Mahavishnu. Lakshmi Kantam Kamala Nayanam. His eyes are like the lotus petal. Lakshmi Kantam Kamala Nayanam Meghavarnam Shubhangam. Vande Vishnum Bhava Bhayaharam Sarva Lokaikanatham. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Mahavishnu, Bhava Bhayaharam, who takes away the fear of remaining in this material world. Bhava Bhaya. So this Bhava Bhaya is this Bhava is this Bhava Sagar, it is called. Bhavam Buddhi. So this material world is called an ocean of birth and death. So he, Lord Mahavishnu, is taking away that fear of this continuous cycle of births and deaths. Bhava Bhaya Haram. Sarva Lokaikanatham. And he is the Lord of all the universes. And this is a very beautiful prayer for Mahavishnu. And this particular verse here, bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ. If you look at the word by word translation here, bhṛtya. Bhṛtya is the servitor. And this bhṛtya word brings in that memory of the Mukundamala Stotra, where in the Mukundamala Sutra it is said, Mad Janma Phalamidam Madhukaita Bhare, Mad Prarthaniya Mad Anugratha Esha Eva, Tvad Bhṛtya Bhṛtya Paricharaka Bhṛtya Bhṛtya, Bhṛtyasya Bhṛtya Itimam Smara-Locanānam. So it is said in that particular verse in Mukundamala Stotra. The devotee is praying that if I have got any auspiciousness in my life, Mad Janma Phalamidam Madhu Kaita Bhare, O enemy of Madhu and Kaitava. Mad Janma Phalamidam Madhu Kaita Bhare, Mad Prarthaniya Mad Anugrata Esha Eva. My only request and my only benediction from you, O Lord, is only this. Tvat, what is that benediction that I want? That please remember me as your bhṛtya bhṛtya paricharaka bhṛtya bhṛtya, bhṛtyasya bhṛtya, 6 times down the line. Servant, bhṛtya bhṛtya, servant of the servant, paricharaka, servant, bhṛtya bhṛtya, bhṛtyasya bhṛtya. So it's 7 times. 7 times down the line, servant of the servant. Please remember me as that, O Lord. So this is the prayer of Mukundamala Stotra, where that bhṛtya word is used 6 times and paricharaka is used once. So overall, everything is meaning servant of the servant of the servant 7 times down the line. So this is the humility of a person who has surrendered unto the Lord totally. So the devotee understands that the more one comes down in the line of disciplic succession, the more mercy the person is getting. Because all these teachings are getting accumulated and it is coming in the disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu sakalene hamahata yogo nashtah parantapa. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, the transcendental knowledge comes in disciplic succession, parampara praptam. And who can understand this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Imam rajarshayo vidu, someone who is in the category of Raja and Rishi, who has got the qualities of a king and a saint. Imam rajarshayo vidu, sakalene mahata yogo nashtah parantapa. So Krishna mentions that as the time progressed, this transcendental knowledge, because it has been passed in the disciplic succession, and when the disciplic succession gets lost, the transcendental knowledge has to be retold. So actually, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manve Pravha Mano Rikshavake Bravit. So Krishna says that he told the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to sun god millions and millions of years before. Imam Vivasvate Yogan Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manuve Pravha. Vivasvan, the sun god, told it to Manu. Manu told it to Ikshvaku. So this is the Parambara Praptam. This is the disciplic succession, the transcendental knowledge that is transmitted in disciplic succession. And when the transmission of the knowledge takes place as it is, without addition or subtraction of what the original content is, then its purity is intact. But if there is anything added or subtracted to the original content, then its purity starts to diminish, and then there is no. If it continues that way, then the transcendental knowledge needs to be retold, and that is what Krishna did to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So स एवायम मयाते अद्या योग प्रोक्त पुरातन भक्तो उसी में सखा चेति रहस्यम ही एतदुत्तमम्. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that because you are my friend and you are my devotee, you are able to understand the secret, rahasya. And what kind of secret is this? Uttamam, Udgata Tamam, that which is transcendental. So it is a transcendental secret. And it can be understood only when one is in that frame of mind of bhṛtya-paricaraka, bhṛtya-bhṛtyasya bhṛtya. So, as it is said in the Mukundamala Stotra, when one has got that amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjavam, acharya upasanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha, the qualities that are mentioned about one who has surrendered unto Krishna. The first quality is humility, amanitvam, adambhitvam, without any pride, ahimsa, non-violence, kshanti, arjavam, simplicity, forbearance, acharya upasanam, respecting the spiritual master and serving the spiritual master, acharya upasanam, shaucham, cleanliness, stairyam, atma vinigraha, control of the senses, and being equanimous. So these are the qualities. So here in this particular verse, bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ, the servitor affection, abhimukham, favorably facing, dṛg, the very sight, asavam, an intoxication. So this is the one of the things about being involved in devotional service is that one is there is parivadato jano yatho tatho va nanu mukharo vadatti vayam na vicharayama hari rasa madira madati matta bhuvi gulutama natama nirvishama. Hari rasa madira. This is said by Srila Rupa Goswami. So that is the intoxication of the holy names of the Lord. And when the holy names are taken with full surrender, one actually sees the Lord. And the sight of the Lord in Vaikuntha planets is being described in this verse. And then there is Goloka Vrindavana. The sight of the Lord in the Goloka Vrindavana planet would be Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalayataksam Bharhavatamsam Asitambuda Sundarangam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govinda Madhipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. That is the sight of the Lord in Goloka Vrindavana, the abode of Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there he is holding the flute in his hand, Venum Kvanantam, Aravinda Dalayataksha. His eyes are like the petals of the lotus flower. Bharhavatamsam Asitambuda Sundaranga. He has got peacock feather on his head, and his complexion is like that of the newly formed cloud. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham. His beauty attracts millions of cupids. Kandarpa Koti. In the material world, the cupid is considered as the person who is bringing in that love between the two people. And Krishna's beauty is described in that verse as that which attracts millions of cupids. That is the beauty of the Lord. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govinda Madhipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So here, this is in this verse, it is mentioning about Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha planet. So his servitors are serving him with full affection, favorably when they are when they are looking at Lord Mahavishnu, they are getting intoxicated by his beauty. So this is the transcendental intoxication. In the material world, person wants to get intoxicated, and it is considered as a way of escaping from reality. Person is finding different ways, different reasons to get intoxicated. So if there is a nice sunny day, the person wants to enjoy the sun and get intoxicated. Or if it is a gloomy day, because it is gloomy, the person wants to get intoxicated. So person finds the reason to get intoxicated if they want to get intoxicated. In this case, an interesting concept or interesting reality here is that this intoxication is spiritual intoxication, which is again helping one to reach the real existence. There is an intoxication in this material world, which is making one go away from the reality and go into ignorance, the mode of ignorance. And then there is this intoxication, which is that Hari Rasa Madira Madati Matta. Bhuvi Vilutama Natama Nirvisham. This is the intoxication of remaining engrossed in the remembrance of the Lord and the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So, in that state, when the person is intoxicated in the material world with some kind of intoxicants, one does not care about what other persons are going to say about him, because that power of getting intoxicated is so strong that one does not care about anything else other than getting intoxicated. And in the transcendental state of remembering the Lord, it seems to be quite similar on the when one is looking at the person who has got intoxicated by the holy names of the Lord and the person who has got intoxicated by taking some material substance. At the gross level, it might look the same, but internally, it is totally different. Internally, when one is intoxicated by the holy names of the Lord, one is transcended the existence which is temporary and reach the existence paras tasmatu bhavanyo vyakta vyaktat sanātana. Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu vinashatsu na vinashyati. As it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna, Krishna talks about that place, paraha tasmatu bhavanya vyakta vyaktat sanātana. So there is the supreme transcendental abode of the Lord, which is eternal. Na tad bhāsate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamam paramam mama. So Krishna mentions that at that place there is no need of sun, there is no need of moon, there is no need of fire or electricity. And where one goes, one does not come back. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhamam paramam mama. That is my supreme abode. And this Vaikuntha Dhama, which is being mentioned here, where Mahavishnu is mentioned, that is that abode of the Lord. So in this, we see that the servitors are serving Mahavishnu with full devotion, with full affection, and they are looking at the Lord. And when they're looking at the Lord, they are getting intoxicated by the transcendental, divine, beautiful presence of Mahavishnu. Āsavam, prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānanam. So prasanna, very much pleased, hasa, smile, aruna, reddish, lochana, eyes, ananam, face. So again, there is more description of the beauty of Mahavishnu, which is making the servitors intoxicated with his transcendental divine presence. So the servitors of Mahavishnu are affectionately, favorably facing, and by the very sight, they are getting intoxicated by the beauty of Mahavishnu. And what is that beauty that is described in the second line? They are very much pleased. The smile coming from the reddish eyes and the face and his face. Prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānam. So the reddish face is very much pleased, and the smile is coming from his face, and that smile is seen on his face. So this is Lord Mahavishnu there, and the servant serving him. And then again in the third line there is more explanation about Mahavishnu there. Kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ. So there it is mentioned about Lord Mahavishnu wearing the helmet and earrings. And he has got 4 hands. So this is Vaikuntha Loka. And what does Vaikuntha mean? Vaikuntha, Srila Prabhupada explains, Vigata Kuntha, the place where there is no anxiety. So the Srila Prahlad Maharaj mentions to Hiranyakashipu, when Hiranyakashipu asks him, "Oh son, what did you learn?" Tat sadhumanye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahat. So Prahlad Maharaj mentions to Hiranyakashipu, he addresses Hiranyakashipu as asuravarya dehinam, O best among the demons. Tat sadhumanye, the sadhus are telling, O best among the demons. Tat sadhu asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahat. When one accepts this material world as the permanent place, one is always in anxiety. Sada samudvigna dhiya. Why is one in anxiety? Because originally one is eternal. But when one is in this material world, one has to take the material body. And material body is not eternal. The material body has a date of birth, and because there is a date of birth, there is also a date of death. And between the date of birth and date of death, there is jara and vyadhi. There is old age and there is disease. So this is the janma mrityu jara vyadhi. This is the existence in the material world. And this existence in the material world is totally opposite to our original spiritual nature, which is eternal and blissful. Satchidananda. So our original nature is in quality one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example that is given is, if we take a drop of water from the ocean, that drop of water, the taste of the drop of water is exactly the same as the taste of the whole ocean. So similarly, that's why Krishna mentions that all the living entities are my eternal part and parcels. So that is our original nature. Our original nature is eternal, blissful, and always in existence. Whereas the cloth that we are wearing, which is the body, is temporary. So therefore Krishna gives the example of vasamsi jirnana yatha vihaya navani grananti naroparani tatha shariraya vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, gives the example of, as a person takes off the old garments and puts on the new garments, vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grananti naroparani tatha shariraya vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Gives up the old body and takes on a new body. So this change of bodies is constantly taking place, like the change of dress takes place in one particular body. So this is because one is unfortunately in this attachment to body. So there is this verse where it is mentioned about this existence where sa eva gokhara is mentioned. Yasyaste buddhi kunapetri dhatuke swadhik kalatradishu bhaumya jadi Yat tirtha buddhi salilena karechit janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokhara. So, what that particular verse in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says is, when one yasyatma buddhi kunape tridhatuke. So, one is thinking that I am this body made up of bile, mucus, and air. Atma buddhi. Through my intelligence and through my existence, I am thinking that I am this body made up of bile, mucus, and air. Swadhik kalatradeshu bhaumya ijadi. I am thinking through my intelligence that this is my wife and this is my family. They have kalatradeshu atmasaineshu asatsu api tesham pramatta nidanam pashyan api na pashyati. Dehapatya kalatradeshu atmasaineshu asatsu api. It is mentioned that one is thinking that one's family is their infallible soldiers. That the family is going to help them at every point in their existence. Unfortunately, that is not the case, because the family is there only until one is living. At the time of death, one is just going. Whether one likes it or not, one has to give up their family at the time of death. So this is the situation in this material world. That's why if one is thinking that this is mine, swadhik kalatradhishu bhaumya ijjadi, this family is mine, and this land in which I am born is the worshipable land. I'm a great patriotic person. My patriotism is the best patriotism. No one else has got as much patriotism as me. All this is coming from the false ego platform, thinking that I am this body. When I'm born in a particular land, oh, this is my land, worshipable land. If someone is coming and looking at my land with an eye of capturing this land, I'm going to defend at the cost of my life. So, of course, there is this Rajya Dharma and everything. Of course, the defense and everything is there. Because when we are getting a body, so this is what was the predicament of Arjuna. Arjuna had to fight with his own relatives on the other side. It was even more difficult for Arjuna at that time. It was the most difficult period to make decision. So, karpanya dosha apahata svabhavat pritchami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yashreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So Arjuna actually says that I have become miserly now, O Lord. I don't know what decision to take. Apahata sva pritchami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Dharma sammudha. I don't know what is the right thing for me to do. What is the right step that I should be taking? Please tell me what is ultimately beneficial for me. Yashreyasyan nishchitam bruhitan me. Please tell me for sure what is ultimately beneficial for me. Shishyasteham sadhi mam tvam prapanna. Now I am your disciple, O Krishna, and I have surrendered unto you. Please tell me what is most auspicious for me, what is ultimately beneficial for me. So that is, and then in the end, Arjuna says, Nashto moha smritir labdhva, tvad prasadan mayachyuta, sthitosmin gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So in the end, after listening to the Bhagavad Gita of Sri Krishna, Arjuna says that now I have lost the attachment and enamorment of the material energy. And I have regained my spiritual consciousness. Smritir labdhva. How did I get it? Tvat prasadan my achyuta. Oh my achyuta. Achyuta, that is the name of Sri Krishna, which means that one who never falls down. Achyuta means someone, that is the conditions of the living entities, that there is a tendency to fall down. But Krishna is Achyuta. Achyutananda Govinda. So the Achyuta is Krishna who never falls down. That is his sthitosmin gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So Arjuna says that now I will do what you're saying to me, O Krishna. So it is very difficult to to know what is the right thing to do at every moment in life, and especially in the moments where there is huge predicaments. What is the right thing to do is very difficult to understand, and that's why tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. That's why the spiritual master knows about what is spiritually beneficial. Yeah, and whatever is spiritually beneficial gives the ultimate benefit to the person. The materially beneficial thing is only valid for that particular lifetime. It cannot be taken into the next lifetime. But what is spiritually benefits has impact not only in the present circumstances, but it also has a great impact in terms of going back home, back to Godhead. And that is what is when we are reading these wonderful discussions of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all the other wonderful scriptures. One is understanding what one has to do at every moment. Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhacha. Mayarpita manor buddhi mame vaishit samshaya. So the remembrance of the Lord and doing the activities that needs to be done at that particular time frame has to be the activities that every individual should be doing. So here, in this particular verse, we have discussed about kirīṭinaṁ, kuṇḍalinaṁ, catur-bhujaṁ. So the Lord is wearing that helmet, and he has got the earrings, and he has got 4 arms. Shankam, Chakram, Gadha, Pangajam, Idivilasam, Nalatrikai Galode, Sankirna Shyamavarnam, Harivapulamaram, Pure Mangalam Va. So this is Shankha, Chakra, Gadha, and Pankaja. So conch shell, disc, mace, and the lotus flower. Those are the 4 hands of Mahavishnu, carrying those 4 transcendental items. And this is Vaikuntha Loka. Kirīṭinaṁ, kuṇḍalinaṁ, catur-bhujaṁ, pītāṁśukaṁ, vakṣasi, lakṣitaṁ, śriyā. So Pita is yellow, Amshukam dress, vakṣasi on the chest, lakṣitaṁ marked śriyā, with the goddess of fortune. So this is that Lakshmi Devi is constantly staying with in the heart of Mahavishnu. So generally Lakshmi Devi is considered to be chanchala, in the sense that Lakshmi Devi does not stay for long at one place, but she's always serving Mahavishnu. This is the transcendental position of Mahavishnu. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhir Abhipalayantam. Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam. Govinda Madipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that is described about the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and it is applicable for the Vaikuntha Dham, where Mahavishnu is situated as well. So Chintamani Prakara Sadmashu Kalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu. Actually, one of the things about Goloka Vrindavan Dham is there is more intimacy in the relationship, and it is more for example, Krishna playing with his friends. Krishna is carrying them on their shoulders, and the friends are also carrying Krishna on their shoulders, and they are fighting with each other in game. and all this wonderful relationship, as we see Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maiya. So there is a lot of intimacy in Goloka Vrindavan Dham. In the Vaikuntha Dham, there is awe and reverence. There is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That awe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is there. And therefore we see in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as well, when the gopis are singing their song of separation, Krishna would sometimes show his form as Mahavishnu, and the gopis would offer the respectful obeisances to Mahavishnu and ask him, where is Krishna? It is very transcendental, that love, which is so intimate, in that transcends all the other kinds of service that is rendered to the Lord. So we have this Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. And then there is Shanta. So rendering service to the Lord as a servant. So that is what is mentioned here. Bhṛtya. The word, this verse starts with the word bhṛtya, and that is of the servitude. So that is the Dasya Rasa. So this is more or less talking about the Dasya Rasa in this particular verse. But one of the transcendental part of all the rasas is that all these different types of intimate relationships with Krishna, that all those relationships are, in a sense, they are really similar from the perspective of both the Lord and the devotee, because the devotee has got a sthāyi bhava, it is called. That is their original nature of serving the Lord. When the living entity attains one of those spiritual abodes of the Lord, the Vaikuntha Loka or the Goloka Vrindavana Loka, that natural inclination of loving devotional service to Krishna is known. So one could be in the Dasya Rasa, or as a servant of Krishna. One could be Sakhya Rasa, as a friend of Krishna. One could be Vatsalya Rasa, as a parent of Krishna, or one could be Madhurya Rasa, as the lover of Krishna. And all those rasas have their own importance and significance. They are equally full of their own mellows. In that relationship, the devotee and the Lord are tightly in contact with each other, and that contact of the devotee and the Lord is wonderful. There is no comparison. So to compare the relationship of the person in Dasya Rasa with a Sakhya Rasa, and Sakhya Rasa with a Vatsalya Rasa, and Vatsalya Rasa with a Madhurya Rasa is probably not the right thing to do, because they are all full of ocean in themselves. So in their own right, that is the best relationship that can exist, because everyone is an individual, uniquely in relationship with Krishna. Or Ramadi Murti Shukalani Mena Tishtan Nana Avataram Karod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavas Paramapumanyo Govinda Madipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Krishna has got these unlimited forms. He has got unlimited names. Namnamakari Baudha Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadраshi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdayam Idrisham Ihajani Nanu Raga. So the name of the Lord and the form of the Lord are all they are directly related with each other. So when we're saying Jai Shri Ram, 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 The name of Ram is associated with the form of Ram, who is carrying the bow and arrow, and he is Maryada Purushottam. And Hanumanji is doing the Dasya Rasa there, and in that Dasya Rasa he is totally fulfilled. He's not in any kind of competition with any other rasas. He's totally fulfilled in Dasya Rasa. So if we look at the relationship of Arjuna with Krishna, he's totally fulfilled in that relationship of friendship with Krishna. If we look at Yashoda Mai with Krishna, the Yashoda or Nanda Maharaj, totally fulfilled in their relationship as parent of Krishna. They are not in terms of comparing that relationship with any other kind of relationship. So this is the wonderful nature of the spiritual love for the Lord. There is unlimited variety there, and unlimitedly eternal, which is what this verse is also signifying. And Srila Prabhupada actually mentions in the purport about the Yoga Pitha, the particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. This is, and he's saying how the personifications of religion, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasa śriyā jnana vairagyayas sanna iti bhaga itingana. So this is Krishna, who has got full. So all this religion, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all his. He's got unlimitedly in him, and their personifications are sitting at his lotus feet. The four Vedas, namely Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16 energies headed by Canto are all present there. And all the doorkeepers also mentioned there. We have got Jaya and Vijaya, who we see the four Kumaras, Sanak, Sanātana, Sanānanda, and Sanat. The four Kumaras, they are not allowed to come into Vaikuntha by Jaya and Vijaya. The last door, the last door is the first door when one is coming in. The last door from the perspective of Mahavishnu, and the first door from the perspective of the person who is coming into Vaikuntha Loka. And we see there that wonderful story where Jaya and Vijaya are not allowing the four Kumaras to come, and then the four Kumaras are they're cursing, but that curse is actually in a way, this is the wonderful thing about all these saintly people, that even if they are cursing, the curse has also got some kind of boon within it. So there we see that they are given the option of 7 lives as a close associate of Krishna, or 3 lives as the enemy of Krishna, and then they want to go back to Vaikuntha as soon as possible. So then they take that option, and then we see that they are Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, and Shishupal and Dantavakra. So they are born as the demons opposing Krishna, but internally they are the doorkeepers of Vaikuntha Loka. So this is the wonderful situation, the wonderful transcendental divine description of the Vaikuntha Loka, which is bhṛtya-prasādābhimukhaṁ dṛg-āsavaṁ prasanna-hāsāruṇa-locanānanam kirīṭinaṁ kuṇḍalinaṁ catur-bhujaṁ pītāṁśukaṁ vakṣasi lakṣitaṁ śriyā. The personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his very sight intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune. So, if we can somehow or other remember this glorious form of Mahavishnu by reading this verse and remembering the contents of this verse, that will be the most auspicious activity that we can do. Because that is smaranam, a remembrance. Smaranti nandanti taeva hi jana taeva pashyanti achirena tavadikam. So this is Kunti Devi says this in her prayers, that this remembrance of the Lord is the most best way of rendering loving devotion service, because the mind is fully focused on the Lord. So somehow or other, if we can remember this transcendental features of the Lord mentioned in this verse, we will be in the transcendental world. With that, I would like to close this discussion. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyatya Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishna Materastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.